This is Shuttle Launch Control. We have now joined history's largest crew of astronauts in the operations and checkout building as they wait for their breakfast. The 7-person crew is the largest ever to be launched into space by any nation, and in fact is as large as the entire Mercury program astronaut corps was 21 years ago. At the head table in the center is Mission Commander Bob Crippen, and the other members are displayed about him on either side. To Bob Crippen's immediate left is Sally Ride on her second trip into space. Bob Crippen, of course, has completed 3 trips. This will be his fourth mission in space. Seated to Commander Crippen's right is Kathy Sullivan. She's a space rookie, of course, on her first mission. And to her right is Canadian Mark Garneau. And we'll be panning around a table here to see the other crew members as well. This is John McBride and Paul Scully Power, noticeable for his beard. He's the payload specialist, and John McBride is the pilot on this particular flight. At the opposite end of the table was Mission Specialist 3, David Leesma. And we understand that the crew is, at this point, beginning to make their way out of the crew quarters. And we see Commander Bob Crippen and Sally Ride leaving the crew quarters, followed by Kathy Sullivan and Mark Garneau of Canada, distinctive with a maple leaf flag on his flight suit. Paul Scully Power with the beard, and also followed by George Abbey, several of the support team astronauts and security personnel, all climbing into the elevator to go down to the ground floor. Crew now leaving the operations and checkout building, led by the 2 women on this flight, Kathy Sullivan and Sally Ride. Commander Crippen and all the other crew members for history's largest astronaut crew, climbing into the Astrovan, which is a modified camper-style vehicle. Incidentally, that camper vehicle was purchased by NASA because of the increasing size of shuttle flight crews. The former vehicles were proving just too small to carry all the people for the 9-mile trip out to the flight pad, the launch pad. Crews being sent off by a crowd of media representatives and employees, which traditionally gather at the walkway leaving the operations and checkout building. And the Astrovan will move off in just a few seconds for the 9-mile trip out to launch pad 39A. Bob Crippen now donning his helmet. He'd already put on his vest. This procedure, of course, is very familiar to Bob Crippen. He's had 3 launches already in space and numerous tests where he's donned this equipment. Commander Crippen, at 47 years of age, is the old man of this particular mission. He was born in Beaumont, Texas, and he joined the astronaut corps in 1969. He was selected to be the pilot of the first space shuttle mission with John Young, and has since flown 2 other space missions for a total of 3. This makes him NASA's most experienced shuttle astronaut. He's one of the 5 members of this mission with naval backgrounds. Commander Crippen is listed as a Navy captain. He was a naval attack pilot aboard the carrier USS Independence for more than 2 years before joining NASA. Mission Specialist 1, Kathy Sullivan, now boarding Challenger's cockpit. And Dr. Sally Ride is now entering Orbiter Challenger for her second flight into space. The technician wiping down the soles of her shoes to make sure that no excess dirt would be tracked into the Orbiter Challenger, rather.
And NTD MS2 radio check.
Yeah, MS2, you're coming in loud and clear. How me?
Okay, you're coming in loud and clear, too.
About to enter Challenger's cockpit now is Canadian Mark Garneau, who is the first Canadian selected to fly in space aboard a space shuttle. Garneau is also a PhD with a specialty in electrical engineering. He's an employee of the Canadian Navy and is along on this mission to perform primarily 10 experiments in 3 different scientific fields for Canada. He's one of 6 Canadian astronauts selected earlier this year for training and eventual flight. And now entering Challenger's cockpit is Paul Scully Power. Scully Power is the most recent addition to this crew list. He's a civilian employee of the U.S. Navy, and he has considerable experience and time performing oceanographic research as a senior scientist or chief scientist on 24 research cruises. He was born and educated in Australia and has since become a United States citizen. He will be conducting a wide range of oceanographic studies for the Navy during the flight.
T-minus 15. T-minus 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Go for main engine start. 7, 6. We have main engine start. 5, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have SRB ignition, and the history's largest astronaut crew is on its way.
Houston controlling now. All main engines running at 100%. Roll program initiated, 120-degree roll maneuver to put the ship on its 57-degree inclination with the crew heads down and wings level. Throttling down to 92%. Main engines running smoothly, throttling down now to 65%. Challenger going through the period of max Q of maximum dynamic pressure on the ship. Engine performance still stable. APUs all running smoothly. Velocity.
Challenger Houston, go at throttle up.
Go throttle up.
All main engines back at 100% of thrust. Velocity 2,000, 3,000 feet per second now. Altitude 11 miles, distance downrange 8 miles. Challenger climbing at the rate of 1,800 feet per second. Engine performance still looks good. All engines are running at 100% of rated thrust. APU performance is nominal. Altitude 4,200 feet. Altitude 18 miles, 19 miles. Velocity 4,800 feet per second. Distance downrange 20 nautical miles.
DC less than 50.
That call precursor to SRB separation, which should come momentarily.
And we have SRB set.
And nominal
Your separation.
all 3 engines still running.
Challenger Houston, first stage performance, nominal.
Roger, nominal first stage.
Challenger Houston, your go for command pass to RF and your PI setup.
Okay, we copy. Go for command pass to RF and PI setup. And that'll be in work in just a second.
Roger.
Okay. And everybody's up here having fun. You can play with the flight deck here for a while, and we also have the mid-deck, or correction, the payload bay cameras on if you want to play with those. But you really can fit 7 people in here.
Looks a bit crowded, though.
Not very much.
And we have a nice picture of the herbs.
Okay.
Okay, Houston, Challenger, we're all squared away and ready for SEP whenever you guys are.
Roger, Crip, we'll be with you momentarily. Challenger Houston, your go for release.
Okay, we'll put it in work. Okay, Sally's backing the arm off of the pin at this time, and we'll stand by.
Okay, Ron, the pictures that you're seeing now are the first set of latches. And you can see the preload that it had on it. It just jumped right up when the latch released.
Roger, we see that.
And watch the oscillation. It took it a while to damp out. Which was nothing compared to what we saw later.
Oh, we have enough time to see that.
the inner leaf deploying.
Roger that. Got a good picture of that.
And once that leaf started deploying, the oscillations pretty much stopped, and by the time it was out, it was nice and stable.
Yes, that movement looks surprisingly smooth for a structure like that. Challenger, Houston, with you through Hawaii for 8.5 minutes.
Okay, as you can see, we got Mark and Paul right now are running through a little of the Canadian experiments dealing with the space adaptation syndrome. And Sally and Dave are going through some of our radiation monitor equipment at this time. We got a read coming up.
Roger, Quip. We have a teleprinter message coming up at this time.
Roger that.
And we'd like for you to leave the TV control and panel.
I'm sorry, I had them at panel. They're back in command. You can have it.
Copy that. Okay, we're getting more and more individuals into the picture now. That's a great shot.
Got lots of folks aboard. Okay, here's what I want you to see.
Okay, we're watching. See the own spots? That's a good close-up, thanks.
I'm not sure what you're getting in color on that. What color does that dark strip look to you?
Looks pretty black.
Oh, that's what it looks like here. Okay, now we're going to take you on over to the one that's kind of popped up some. There's a little gouge out right there. And just coming in the top is the one tile that's kind of lifted up. You can see the gouge just under the blanket and the one tile that's beside the blanket picked up.
Roger.
And there's another gouge right down here. We'll lower down to it and show it to you. Okay, there's the other one we're speaking of.
Okay, Crip, we're going LOS, and we won't be talking to you until Vandenberg at 9+30. We'd like you to dump Tank A down to 70% and Bravo down to 20%. That should be about 30 minutes.
Okay, A to 70 and Bravo to 20, and we go to do that when?
Anytime at your convenience.
Okay.
Challenger, Houston, with you through Tidris. How do you read?
Okay, we read you loud and clear. How is one?
We read you loud and clear. Go ahead, USIA commentator.
This is Houston Press Center again. Do you read us, USIA studio? Okay, this is the Houston Press Center Challenger. We're ready for questions now from Houston.
Okay, Houston, we're standing by. They've been tough thus far.
Okay. Okay, we're ready now for questions from Houston. If I don't identify you by name and affiliation, please do so. Paul Reeser, Associated Press.
Based on the television views that we've seen of you people in your space cabin, you resemble sometimes a can of anchovies. I'm wondering, for Bob Crippen, when you return, are you going to really recommend that 7 crew members again are flown aboard the space shuttle?
That's a very tough question and one that I considered a lot prior to taking this mission. I guess the result is that I have found that if people are properly disciplined and at least with the kinds of tasks that we have, that we can operate 7 people in the shuttle.
Morton Dean, CBS.
To Bob Crippen. Bob, how difficult or discouraging has it been for you to deal with a mission that has had so many problems?
Which mission was that, Morton?
My follow-up is this mission.
Okay, Morton. We've had some problems. I think they've probably been more tough for the ground to deal with. The problem we ran into with the KU-band antenna, I know, has certainly given the Sir B folks some problems trying to get all their data. I believe that
Mission Control in Houston has done its marvelous job that it normally does in coming up with workarounds that allow us. I think that's been the general tenor of the way we do business, that if things don't work out, we'll make the best of what we have. I believe we're getting good data for them. We had a little problem with our FES. I think that we've got that under control now. And as far as we're concerned, things are running along fairly smoothly.
Okay, Rebecca Chase, ABC.
This is for Commander Crippen and Sally Ride. Could you compare the this mission with the other missions that you've been on, comparing the problems and the crowded conditions and the heat, as well as the accomplishments of what you think you're doing up there?
Well, the last mission that I was on with Crip was a great mission, and we really didn't have many problems, and we had a great time the whole time we were up there. This mission, I guess any space flight is a great space flight, and we're having an awful lot of fun. We've had a few more problems, but so far we've been pretty successful in all the things that we've been trying to do. We got the Herb spacecraft deployed on Flight Day 1, although that was a little bit of a struggle, but just made us all the more happy when we got it out there. And I think that the crowded conditions, it's more crowded with 7 people than it was with 5, but everybody's been pretty good about trying to stay out of everybody else's way, and it's really working pretty well. And as far as the heat goes, we're all from Houston, so it's nothing that we're not used to.
Mark Sickstrom, CTV. This one is for Mark Garneau. Mark, you're rather busy up there, 8 hours a day. You're spent conducting experiments, and another 8 hours, if you're lucky, you're sleeping. Are you getting much time just to gaze out the window and wonder at the splendor of it all?
Yeah, actually, I'm getting all the time I can. In fact, every time we go over Canada, I'm generally stuck at the window having a look out there. I haven't been able to see it all because of some cloud, but certainly I'm getting my share of the time at the window, and it's absolutely fantastic.
This is Houston Press Center. Do you copy, Chapter?
Hang up and try it again. If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
I love it. I love it.
This is Houston Press Center. Do you copy, Challenger? Challenger?
Yes, sir. We copy loud and clear.
Like real space crewmen, getting ready to get out outside the vehicle there.
We're just glad that we're not getting ready for entry.
Sort of looked like that at first. Roger. Happy?
And by the way, up till now, everything has worked perfectly. EMU number 3 checked out, no problems at all, and so far on EMUs number 1 and 2 has had absolutely no problems.
Roger, that's great news, John.
Okay, what you ought to see now, Dave, and everybody down there, are the 2 EMUs that we're going to use for the EVA tomorrow. Dave being EV1 and Kathy being EV2. So we're going to hook up the lower torsos and the helmets, hook up the SCUs, and we're going to go through a pressurization check, make sure that everything works.
Ready, John?
Go ahead.
Okay, O2 is EVA. Time EV is 03. Time left 750. 99% power limiting. 98% O2. 4.3 suit pressure. Oxygen 835. SOP 6210. Sublimator 2.6. Battery volts 16.8. Amps 3.1. RPM 20.0. CO2 0.4.
for 15. That's it.
Okay.
Earth on.
Okay. Pressing on.
I suppose you'd like some tools to work with.
Guys in a couple hours. Now the top of the orbiter looks clean. Is John in the bag again? Back in the bag again. Are we LOS or AOS? We're still AOS. Okay.
Challenger Houston, we're 2 minutes to Cedrus LOS. We'll be listening through Yargity and talk to you again through Guam at 1611.
Okay, we're not planning on configuring comm for Yargity.
Copy that. We got some good TV on it there.
Okay, Pinky. We'll see you when you get back.
Do you think? Even the PSA made me left-handed today, Dave. That tell you. Oh, is it ever loose and pitch? Okay, why don't I give you the word unload for me, Dave?
Okay.
Get the right hand hold here. Okay, unload it now. Alright, you still got a good load on it.
I gotta get out of it. More IFM in space.
Spacecraft repair right here. I'll hold you for a while. There's a wrist tender for you if you need another one.
Oh, boy.
By the wrench on it.
Yeah, I can get it with my hand. We're gonna take some.
There you go.
This needs to vent. There, Bennett. Once it vents, it'll be fine.
There.
That pressure that was on it. Is that a little bit more difficult coming off than you expected? Yeah. Although I knew that with never done this with the pressure on it, so I knew it was going to be a little tougher. I didn't think it'd be quite that tough, but it finally vented. Once it vented, it came right off. Okay, don't forget to vent the ball now. I won't. Get rid of some of these contamination. Yeah. Okay, cap removal tool is on.
cap. Cap's coming loose. One.
When did you ever do that in the winter?
All the time in the winter.
No, not with one finger. That's great. That is great.
Okay, and a couple extra just to make sure it comes off. Okay. Oil valve is closed, still have the seals. Is off the seal too. Okay, the cap is off.
Get the seal?
Nope.
No crush cap. Get in it?
Doesn't look like it's in there. Nope. Crush cap.
There.
Crush cap's not in there.
That was a West Virginia tap. What you got?
I got a cap. All valves open.
Challenger Houston, minute and a half to LOS. Good show, you guys, and we'll talk to you next through Guam at 6 plus 44.
Okay, we'll see you there, Pinky. Bye-bye, Pink. Don't you wish you were out there?
No comment. Challenger Houston.
Roger, go.
Roger, Crip, would you like me to read up that attitude, or want to just get teleprint?
I believe Sally's got it in her hand.
Okay, that's the easy way. And Houston Challenger, how do you read, Dick?
Challenger Houston, you're loud and clear, Crip.
Okay, read you the same.
Orbiter Challenger now approaching the Kentucky-Tennessee line. First roll reversal beginning right here over Knoxville, Tennessee at an altitude of 174,177 feet. Mach 11.35. Standing by for mile acquisition.
Challenger Houston back with you through Mila. Configure AOS.
Okay, you're still configured.
Mission Control Houston, velocity now 10,555 feet per second. Altitude 161,000 feet. Sync rate 522 feet per second. Range 370 nautical miles. Velocity now 9,830 feet per second. Altitude 150,000 feet. Approaching the second roll of reversal as they approach the Florida state line. Altitude 133,000 feet. Velocity 6,300 feet per second. Sync rate 256 feet per second. Mission Control Houston, the cave has acquired the orbiter on their infrared cameras. Long-range opticals now show a dot of light, which will gradually increase to the shape of a space shuttle orbiter named Challenger, now at a velocity of 4,200 feet per second, altitude 104,000 feet, 109 nautical miles from the runway. Mission Control Houston, 75,000 feet, 46 nautical miles to touchdown, velocity now 1,800 feet per second. Sync rate 226 feet per second. Altitude now 73,000 feet. We're seeing long-range opticals from Cocoa Beach, Patrick Air Force Base. Columbia or Challenger right on her ground track. Velocity now 1,500 feet per second. Challenger descending at 200 feet per second. Altitude 34,000 feet.
And Houston Challenger, we're manually opening landing gear, ISO number 1.
We copy.
Sonic boom has been heard at the Kennedy Space Center. Challenger now turning left overhead, 190 degrees onto the hack. 29,000 feet. 15 nautical miles. Velocity 730 feet per second. Altitude 27,000 feet. Range 13 nautical miles. Equivalent airspeed 270 knots. Altitude 22,000 feet now. Sync rate 223 feet per second. Angle of attack about 4.5 degrees. Velocity 494 feet per second. Altitude 1,100 feet, 800 feet. Range 1.3 nautical miles. Gear down. Touchdown. Nose down. Mission Control, Houston at 8 days, 5 hours, 24 minutes. The largest crew in the history of spaceflight is home.
Houston, Challenger, we'll stop.
Challenger, Houston, we copy that, Crip, and you outfoxed us again. You landed at KSC, but the beer's been sent to Edwards.
I don't believe it. Don't believe it.
The timeline.
Mission Control, Houston, a round of applause coming out of the Mission Control room here as the crew exits the orbiter. Commander Bob Crippen, shaking hands with the ground crew, pilot John McBride, Kathy Sullivan, Mark Garneau, Sally Ryan, Paul Scully Power.